In hard type, it was interesting. There were a few confidants who read the typeset copy. They enjoyed it. There was something missing. Having the text typeset that quickly was a dead giveaway. This was not all. Something was definitely missing. Until it could be located, the typeset pages disappeared into the bottom drawer of Karen's file cabinet.
Yeah, but what happens if we get to next month, tour book wins again, and we can't progress as Dave is waiting for the X-Men movie scenes that match the comics? I think we've moved past that point. We've now got it narrowed down to what it was that I was picturing in my head, how unlikely that is with anecdotal exceptions, which I would include the Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants story page. Broly had already gone to Studio Comics Press. The vehicle is gone. So, and I thought, well, no, I don't. Broly doesn't really need to be in on this. It's Heritage Auctions Catalog 7246, Friday, September 10th, 2021. And it's session 5, and it's lot number 95117. Bill Sienkiewicz, New Mutants number 20, story page 5, Demon Bear, original art, Marvel 1984. The saga of the Demon Bear is one of the most, this is from the catalog, the saga of the Demon Bear is one of the most memorable storylines from New Mutants, with groundbreaking artwork by Bill Sienkiewicz, where the budding artist experimented with a more expressionistic style. The Demon Bear storyline was also featured prominently in the New Mutants feature film. Here the young mutants battle the ferocious entity, rendered in ink and white paint over graphite on Bristol board with an image area of 10 by 15.75 inches. Toning, production, trimmed corners and top edge, discolored text paste-ups, scratch effects, residue staining, whiteout corrections with smudging, and handling wear. That pretty much describes a Bill Sienkiewicz comic page from 1984, if you were looking for a description. And I got to tell you that Heritage does a wonderful job. Yes, these have discolored captions and discolored word balloons, but it's not that. It doesn't look like mud. The idea is to get Sienkiewicz's rendering across to likely bidders, and it does that, and still acknowledges, yes, these pasted on captions and word balloons are discolored, but it doesn't have to overwhelm everything else as it did in the IDW artist edition book. Maybe he'll be satisfied if someone gets like a half dozen examples. No, like I say, I think we're down to like one or two anecdotal ones, and they definitely focused on the art with the screen captures, something that we want to pick movies where you're not going to have to labor for days to try and make the screen capture look like actual human flesh or something like that. With the Demon Bear stuff, that's not going to happen. Travis Pelkey said, "What the hell does any of this have to do with the 1982 tour?" This is one line of a picture caption. The several dozen of us who are the target audience know that Claremont wrote X-Men and influenced the movies. Move on, Dave. I think we are moving on. I think it's there was just a lot of stuff that I didn't know that had to be communicated, and a lot of stuff that I had to figure out that I hadn't had figured out. And I do think that we're getting much closer now. It's just, this is not going to be a short process, which is why I said conservative estimate, probably 2 years. It's not going to come out in 2026. It's not going to come out in 2027. It'll come out when there's a interesting, classy, publishable book that we've all put together as the only people who are interested. Anonymous said, "Yeah, I think Dave is trying to go for the general reader. I don't see how you'd even get a Patreon book to the sort of Barnes and Noble's places. He'd be thinking of. I'm not really thinking of that. I'm thinking of the fact that Waverly, definitely Dagan James has a lot of contacts in really classy, high-end environments that I don't imagine for a moment that includes Barnes and Noble. God help us all. It would be it's something uptown, something classy, and he's put together a group of outlets that I remember when I saw him in New York in 2013, and I think it was the Metropolitan Museum that he took me to, and he took me to the gift shop and pointed out Waverly Press things that were in there. And it's like he was definitely targeting high-end, deep pocket, and classy. And so that's really what I'm sticking to on this, is trying to picture, okay, the 82 tour book isn't going to fit in all of those places, but maybe there's a handful that they're more than willing to look at anything that Dagan is publishing, and they're more than willing to give it some shelf space for a limited space of time. Tony Dunlop said, "There's no quote thumbs up unquote button on here, so thumbs up. This whole ramble reminds me of a certain politician who went to farm country to talk to farmers about a giant reflecting pool that's bigger than the Empire State Building. See, we Cerebus fans are the farmers, and we really like this guy, but what? I didn't know that story. I'll take your word for it that this is of recent vintage. I don't think that's what I'm doing. I think I'm sticking very, very close to my attention. Right from the beginning with this classy Waverly Press book that would be not out of place next to all of the other classy pop culture books that he does, and not in its comic book kitsch ghetto. And that's a very, very difficult thing to convey to anybody. But I think we're edging towards it. And then Matt, you write, "I don't think all those anonymous comments are the same guy, but maybe. Stranger things have happened. You never know. You never know. There were a couple of anonymous where they were disagreeing with each other, but maybe he's dissociated or something like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We're very, very inclusive here at at a moment of Cerebus. Then I posted, as part of a longer post, did you know Chris Claremont was in a couple of the X-Men movies? No, I did not. That was an interesting section. Pages 22, 23. 16 years of stories means Claremont is intertwined in the DNA of any cinematic X-Men film. Well said. That's another one of those. That's a good sentence. That's since we're trying to distill this and at the same time show people things. I think you'd have to go a long way to do better than 16 years of stories means Claremont is intertwined in the DNA of any cinematic X-Men film. 24. 25. This is from Birdsong, I believe. So instead of 8 pages of the 82 tour book with X-Men content, I have a rough concept of a 2-page spread that'll get the gist across without anyone having to watch the X-Men flicks while scanning through their Claremont, Byrne, Austin. Terry Austin did the heavy lifting of making John Byrne's work look addable, in my not-so-humble opinion. I'd post where my mock-up is at, but it's very rough. So maybe by next weekend, depending on where I get with it. And then we have a very long horizontal line, and I'm still working on that mock-up. Maybe next month.
Cerebus was the name of the magazine. Her sister and brother provided the aardvark and Vanaheim of the publishing company's name when they realized that Cerebus had been misspelled and ad-libbed that Cerebus was the name of the aardvark mascot cartoon, Cerebus the aardvark. It had a nice ring to it.